G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Here's my one and only Juniper procumbens, or prostrata as we sometimes know them in Australia. Juniper procumbens or prostrata, commonly used in bonsai. It's got a slightly different foliage to the Shimpaku juniper, which I love, but it's this tree. The reason I still have only one procumbens, and this is the only one, is this was the first tree I ever had and styled probably 20 plus years ago now. So it's still with me. It's looking, unfortunately, it's looking a bit scraggly. It's a slanting style kind of tree. Still looks quite nice, but it's got a lot of dieback inside and browning off. So, and what's happened is this slanting tree, it wasn't on such a slanting angle. So just because of the weight, it's just slowly lowered in the pot. So this tree is a bit of a project tree today, and what I'm going to plan to do is I am going to clean up all the foliage, clean up all the dead bits, and then repot the tree. Now it's just because of the angle, it's kind of ruined it. It's not, I think it's too horizontal at the moment. It should be actually a bit taller up. Should be about here somewhere rather than down here from memory. But yeah, let's have a look. I want to try and take the wire off it as well. It's got a lot of copper wire on it too, so it's a bit of a cleanup process today on this tree. If you guys can see, I hope I'm not blocking, but it's quite nice. It's got some nice foliage pads and so on, but they're not defined as much as I like anymore, so I really want to get in there and define them again, wire it all out probably again, but this is probably good, 3 hours work or more to do this. So I'm not going to video the whole thing, but just to give you an idea. So yeah, first thing I would do when I approach this tree, the last thing I do is pretty much repot, because once I repot, I don't want to move it, touch it, or anything like that, do anything to the tree at all. So it's all about cleaning it up, getting the wire off it. Now, if I want to style it again, I'll probably do it now. But I'm thinking I might take all the wire off, clean up the tree, and just repot it. And in about 3 months' time, once it's established itself back in the pot, then I'll look at just wiring it again. So that's probably what I'll do, because doing all that work in a very short time frame, well, not really very short, but you can break it up. It'd probably be a bit easier. Unless you've got hours and hours and hours and hours and you do this full time, that's a different story. But just what I'm thinking today. Yeah, so clean up all the foliage, take off the wire, and repot it. So that's what my plan is. Now I could change my mind and do a restyle because the tree was really good and I just want to do it, but there's no rush. This tree will just have to recover in its pot. I'm thinking of changing the pot too, so we'll see about that. I've got probably one other option in mind for it, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, but let's get into it. So, okay, here we go. So I'm not sure how long the rain's going to hold out, but we'll see how we go. So this tree's got some bit of gins and stuff in there, bit of dead wood, bit of everything. But let's look at this first branch. Just want to bring the tree closer, but let me just check the camera so you guys can still see. Yeah, that should be fine. Lots of weeds, but so really I'm just going through and find if there's any, find a lot of dead bits and just cut them off. And whilst I do that, I cut the wire off. Copper wire, it's very hard to unwind it, and there's no point unwinding it. You're not going to use it again. You can unwind it in the sense of taking it off, but yeah, see this branch, for example, it's very scraggly and thin, but it's still green. So as long as it's still green, let's keep it. So this is pretty much what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to show you that first branch, what I do in terms of cleaning it up. So I can unwire this branch, I'm just going to throw it out. also what I try and do is try and see if there's anything underneath. We just want to give this branch a chance to survive. It does. So that's that done. Let's move on to the next one. Dead branches. I love working with juniper, even though this juniper is very prickly, and if you've got sensitive hands, you're going to feel it. It's not too prickly, that is, but you'll feel a little bit of a needling kind of effect. But when you work with these junipers, the smell, I love the smell of them. Sounds crazy, but not bad. But they've got a really nice smell. So this is quite nice, nice healthy branch there. See that? And it's starting to bud back as well. So it's pretty good. Might be too long eventually, and it's all the foliage is out here. So I could actually come in and reduce that as well. But let's not do that now. I'd only go and reduce heavy foliage when I start to style and design. Pretty good. There's nothing really underneath. So it's because I cleaned that up last time. So there's no downward hanging foliage. Very good. Tickets on myself. Some big heavy copper. Very hard. So you can the dead foliage almost crumbles in your hands, and you can get it off. But it's good to see. What I can see in here is nice bud backing actually. So that's good news. So if we ever want to try and cut back a bit more, get the bud back on the older wood. So bud backing is when you get buds on the older wood here. So you can see this starting to happen in here. Not sure if you can pick it up there, but it's starting to happen in here. Even though these are long, so they're quite long branches. That was the look I was going for. It's got some buds back here. That's good news. From here, oops. Again, because it's so heavy over here, it's just wanting to fall over the whole time. So I've got to address that when I repot this tree. So an arm could be in the way. This is a nice branch here. It's quite it's a good spot. It's much closer in, so that's good. I think the only problem is the wire's cutting heavily on that branch. So we're going to have to try and get this, unwire this out. So there you go. So there wasn't much foliage on these branches, and the wire hadn't cut in much. There was lots of foliage on this branch, and the wire cut in. So it tells you again, junipers get their strength from their foliage. That's why it's very hard to, not good to cut them back so hard. Junipers, they need that foliage to recover and survive. And they get their energy from that. Whereas, pines, they get it from, how we do the big, cuts on, reduce the pines or bud them and take the buds off and cut the candles and so on all the time. If pine's roots are good and strong, the tree's going to be healthy. It doesn't matter about the foliage. So just the strength of junipers comes from the foliage, and pines comes from the roots. But did you know that? Really big cut in, but it's okay. It's all good. So I got the wire off that one. Again, lots of nice back cutting. So this is going a bit faster than I thought so. Sometimes it takes me a while to clean up. But this is quite a healthy tree. The colour is a bit dull because it's winter, or it's coming out of winter. So junipers tend to go a duller colour in winter. They don't go that vibrant green. Shimpacus almost go bronze. So there you go. But that's pretty much cleaned up. I know I've got a bit of dead steel here and there. The majority's cleaned up, the wire's off, except for this main bit, which I'll take off now. You can see that's pretty much holding that in that position I had it in, that wire. So the wire's probably been on quite a long time. I think it's been well over a year. So you can see junipers don't really put out like massive, growth in their branches and so on. So what that means is you can probably leave wire on junipers a bit longer. Just be careful in an area that's really strong growing. So that's that one. All the wire come off that one. It's a nice little branch just sitting in there. I want the tree to be back where it was about here. So we've got to tweak things accordingly. Well, you know what? Maybe it does look good like that. I have to see. I'll work it out. But there you go. That's the first one I've done. I won't go through showing you all the rest, but I'll come back and show you the result. So, I mean, comment if you want me to take you through, next videos and so on. If you want me to just leave the whole video running for the whole time, but I think that's quite boring. If you just want to see what I've done in one, because then I'll do it all the way along. If there's anything interesting, I'll let you know, and I'll do a little short video on that bit, and then go back to cleaning up again. But let me come back to you and show you the next part of this phase, and see how we go. Thanks, guys. Alright, so I've cleaned up, took all the wire off, cleaned up all the foliage. You see much less brown bits on it. And this is kind of where the angle should have been for the tree, rather than that hole leaning down. It leaned down too much. I think what I originally planned was something like that, but now the foliage you can see has kind of grown into the shape there where it was further down lower. So I am considering restyling the tree before I repot it. Now when I repot, I'm not going to take off heaps of soil off it, heaps of roots off it and things like that. It's usually just to clear out the edges and get some air into the pockets. I never bare root my conifers anyway, so it's a shame that I would have to wait 6 months. I mean, I should ideally, so wait 6 months, but I just wanted to show you, because now I've got on the angle it should have been. All the foliage is kind of pushing. You can see probably how it's pushing that way, because it's pushing at that angle. So because it was flatter, that was more straight. So when the tree was flatter, the foliage looks more straight. So that's what's happened. I think it was just sheer weight of the foliage. Slowly gravity pulled it down, and that's where it is. So yeah, maybe I'll err on the side of caution and not restyle before I repot it this time round. Yeah, I'm tempted, very, very tempted to get stuck into that, wire it up, and get it, and then repot it. But let's just do one thing at a time. Be cautious always with your trees. So we'll just repot it this year. This time round. In 3 months, 6 months time, I'll come and restyle it. I have noticed some, a couple of branches down here, for example, this one here is very weak and scraggly, so it's most likely going to come off anyway in the future. Some things are not needed now as much as before, so I'm tempted to start. That's why I was tempted to start, just getting stuck into it. But let's just repot this tree. Yeah, and try and get it at that angle we were trying to aim for. I was considering this pot as well for this tree, so we'll see how that plays out. I could just go back into this pot, but that's one option there. I've got another one I might bring out too, something a bit unusual, just because of this slanting style, or almost, it's more of a slanting style. You don't have to go for such a strict pot, I guess. So yeah, just pots are some options. There's some options for pots, so we'll just let's repot this tree. Okay. Alright, let's see how we go. a lot of moss has grown over the years. It's quite interesting. It's got the actual, you can see the big maybe roots there. That's interesting. It's developed quite well. Yeah, sometimes moss hides everything when you don't want it to. So it looks like quite a nice. Quite a nice base on this tree. That's a bit of a surprise. It's actually quite a nice, I'll show you a bit later, but nice bit of base to that. That was all hidden under the soil. I mean under the moss. Maybe I had this tree for a couple of years, just growing in this. I probably haven't checked it for a couple of years, and yeah, it's really come a long way. Yeah, so nice bit of a, probably the trunk there, trunk line and the roots really nice there actually. It's come up really well. So maybe you can see that there. Tree should just pull out. It's only got one. There it is. Pretty nice roots. All these white, I don't know if you'll be able to see in the camera the white. It's weeds. Weeds. The roots for weeds. But all these nice reddish kind of roots is all the roots for the juniper. So, nice and healthy. Yeah, it's trying to lean too much. Now I wanted to put it back on an angle, maybe up there that way. So might even have to prop it up a little bit and repot it. I could put some really heavy, some sort of heavy gauge wire or just a prop to prop it up so it stays up more, so that when we work on it, if that's the angle we need, so it just drops. It's just easy for it to drop at the moment. But yeah, that's really nice. So you can see now maybe that nice Nabari base forming is quite nice there. Perfect front, it's definitely the front of the tree with that. Let's comb out some of these roots. Very nice open mix, easy, makes it very easy to do to just root, use the root rake and rake out the roots. Sometimes I just pull, if there's too much roots, I just pull them off. It's a very healthy, lots of nice healthy roots. Now I like to use my hands and try and work the roots out, of the soil out of the roots. So I can see how much roots I've got. It's interesting. So the back half of the tree doesn't have any foliage and there's hardly any roots on that side. So that's interesting. There we go. But the front half is where all the roots are. I'm just going to try and get into the base. Just want to see what there is in there. So all I'm trying to do is dislodge the fine soil at the top, so that when I start to water it again, the water will seep through the top. Okay, so I like to use my hands to really get in there and work the roots out. So I've got to work pretty fast. The windy day is drying the roots out again. So you can see some of them are quite long. We don't need that many. You know, I don't go nuts. Probably go harder, but that's all this needs. So yeah, I'm just going to give it a bit of a douse with water just to keep it moist because it's really drying out. And I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so whilst I was watering the tree, I decided I'm going to change it into this pot this time around, just to see what it looks like. Even though it's not ideally what I want, because I don't like the lip on this pot. The other pot I think was just too heavy with that big lip and those big legs. Just didn't really fit for my liking, so I've got in this pot now. I've just put some wires in there, so being able to wire the tree in. So yeah, let's get this tree in and at the angle I need. Let's get some soil. That's probably too much. I didn't realise how big it was. So what I really want to go for is trying to get the angle right. Now you can use the soil and make it kind of the angle that you want the tree to sit in, right? So you can use the soil as a bit of you put the soil like that, the tree will sit there, and you can try and use that to position the tree. So it's working for now. My problem is that I think it will just lean over again and fall over. So yeah, so I want to do something like that, I think. From before, I was always down all the way down here, whereas now I'm thinking putting it a bit higher up. It looks nice. Maybe that angle. I want to just get something in there where my finger is here to brace that. So I might get a rock or something just to keep it pushed up like that. So soil-wise, I think we're pretty good as a base. So let's see if we can tie this in. And I want to see if it actually stays there. That's the hard bit. That's the problem. It just wants to fall over every time. So I'm just going to try and put this wire on, and then we'll see if we can figure out how we can get it to stand up. Stay up. Just putting the extra ones in this one, hopefully it would hold a bit better. It's a little bit better, but you just see how it started to tilt a little bit up more again. So, see how that just a little bit more? You can just get this one tighter. Be careful not to snap of aluminium. Right, now if I get something to brace that, and maybe I'll get some more soil in under there. Let's see. Get there, so it didn't move then. Let's get a bit more in there. Let's get a bit more on the other side. I will use my chopstick so to work it in. But for now I'm just trying to get some weight in there. I can just use my fingers. Kind of standing up now on its own. I do want to just get something to prop that up, just in case it feels like it's wanting to fall over in the future. So hopefully then it will just grow into that position. Yeah, that's the aim. Alright, so I'm just going to keep filling the soil out. Grab my trusty old chopstick. yeah, just work your way, just work your way around the tree. Sometimes I get carried away, forget to talk. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, I know the wires there, you can see them for now, but that's purely for the health of the tree. I don't want the tree to move around. I don't want the tree to be, you know, as it's starting to grow new roots, to be knocked around by the wind. So those are very important to keep the tree tied in. I know we've got a really good root spread and a barry there, so that will be exposed once the tree is more settled. Now, the main reason I had to repot this tree was because it had fallen over. Now, I don't think I would repot this tree very often. I don't repot my conifers very often, so this could have been happily in there for a bit longer. But because it had fallen right over, that's not the angle I want for this tree. So, and that's the reason I wanted to, main reason I want to repot today. So just want to tidy up. Now, I do have to find something for that bit there, so I'll go and have a look, but hopefully you guys can see that tree there. It's much nicer, much more upright, looks much nicer in that. I really like that form it's in now, rather than that falling over right down here. Now we can actually play around with the repositioning the foliage and the branches. So, but I'm going to let it recover for 3 to 6 months. Once I see nice healthy growth again on the tree, getting nice and green again, I know it's really starting to motor along for probably 6 months. Probably now it's, you know, towards the end of August, so probably in the new year somewhere I'll be looking at working on this tree. Yeah, let me water it in and I'll see what I find to prop it up. So we'll see how we go. Alright, so watered the tree in, and just put a bit of moss there just to keep it nice and hydrated. So what I ended up doing is, if you saw a previous video of mine, I used ceramic tiles to plant young seedlings on, so I can get the root spread. Just found some offcuts of a bit of tiles. I put 2 little offcuts under there, just in there, just to hold it up. So I put one in the soil, pretty much buried, and then that was pretty firm, and then put one on top of that, just to hold. So there's 2 pieces just to make it nice and firm in that spot. So let's see how we go with that. I'm going to keep an eye on it, just to make sure it stays upright. Yeah, much better angle, much happier with that tree. So there you go. That's the main reason I repotted, was to get the angle back to where it was. And in the meantime, I might as well trim some roots off, get it nice and healthy again, new soil, look at the new angle, position it, clean it up. Yeah, so you see what I mean? So you don't have to repot your conifers as often, but because I wanted to change the angle of this tree, that was my main reason for repotting. So, whereas deciduous trees, you see they fill the pots with roots, they'll just won't be able to get healthy again, so you got to trim the roots on deciduous. Whereas conifers, you know, they can happily stay in a pot for a very long time without any real problems. So yeah, there you go. Main reason for it, and I think it's a much improved tree now. Yeah, so there you go. So I hope you liked that video, guys. I'll come back to this tree when I want to restyle it, and so you guys can see the next phase of this tree. Hope you enjoyed that, guys, and subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon so you can get notifications of the new videos I put up. See you next time.